God stood back, and he narrowed one eye, and while stroking his mustache, he studied his sky. He put down his brushes, he put down his palette, and banged the lid back on the blue with a mallet. Then, hands on his hips, he scanned his horizon and thought about what to do next. Then his eyes on the whole of creation with jaundice did fall, and he realized that what with his painting and all, he'd forgotten of all things the simple logistics of giving life forms different characteristics. Sizes and shapes of all things were the same, and the ways that they differed were only in name. Crocodiles, elephants, eagles, and rabbits each had the same look, manner, movement, and habits. For each one was soft and was pink and was fragile, was not very big and was not very agile. So God took a box out from under the sink, where he kept a collection of baubles and trinkets that he had dreamed up as a much younger deity, when God was but what he aspired to be, a terrific array of distinguishing features with which to equip each and all of his creatures. Then God took the box and everything in it, for the best way to finish a thing's to begin it. He put on his tool belt, he picked up some paste, and with wrenches and such going clink at his waist, he set off to finer tune up his creation and liven things up with some prey and predation. As he strode through the world looking much like Geppetto, he shouted his news in each glen, vale, and meadow. His hollers shook stones inside great red-rocked canyons, and blew in great gusts where the only companions of clouds are the peaks of the tallest of mountains. He rippled the oceans with cries that reached down tens of thousands of feet to the floors of the seas, and back up again, so great was his vocalese. By the time God had walked to the end of the planet, his brow had grown damp and he'd started to fan it. He'd whipped up a lounge chair and cool lemonade, when round the last curve of the earth there sashayed but the first of the creatures who'd heard his great edict, and come hoping God meant by this new decree picturesque new appearances, fabulous attributes, unique defenses like camouflage hats and suits, maybe great muscles or litheness and speed, or maybe the predisposition to feed on the flesh of their fellows, or leaves overhead, or the grass underfoot, or just things that are dead. Perhaps then the power to swim in the water, or even to fly in the skies, not a really remarkable thing for a god to bestow, no more than webbed feet or an opposable toe. They met there they did at the end of the earth, excited and hoping for all they were worth, and God lined them up, and he showed them his tools, and his paste, and his box, and he told them the rules. Each creature could choose from the big box of trinkets. God wouldn't choose for them. He thought if they think it's what God chooses for them, they'll never refuse, and I'd rather they have things they want and can use. They'd look in the box, itself specially made, and whatever they chose, they could keep or could trade. And so it began, and it went on all day. He'd finish with one, and he'd send it away, with watertight wings or a slithery skin, or a way to prodigiously procreate kin. He ran out of hooves, and he ran out of talons. He went through 4,068 gallons of paste, with which swishy long tails were applied, and beaks were stuck on. You must know that he tried one on a platypus, and though it didn't behoove her, it stayed, as he had no adhesive remover. He ran out of wings, and of things like migrating, and precocial offspring, and methods of mating. The mixing and matching soon verged on absurdity. All told, God stood there 2/3 of eternity, handing out sense glands and fangs and thoraxes and such things. But one of the interesting facts is that after nigh eons of giving out stuff, it turned out that God didn't have quite enough. He'd given away the very last adaptation and stretched up his arms thinking, now a vacation. He slid the now empty box under a tree, when behind him he heard, "Please don't forget me." He turned around quickly, and to his surprise, saw a last little creature with tears in its eyes. Like all of the others, 'twas small, pink, and was fragile, was not very big, and was not very agile. But aching it was for a choice of its own. From the last spot in line it had stood all alone, as each creature came forward and made a selection, and lessened by one the remaining collection. It had waited millennia, hoping to find that the box held a gift for the last one in line. Now it looked up at God, and in its small voice said, "I'm the last one, sir. May I have a choice?" God narrowed his eyes, snapped his fingers, and swore at his miscalculation he needed one more. For the gift box was empty. To make sure, God took it from under the tree, he held it and shook it. And inside the box, they both heard a small thunk, and then a low sliding shunk, and at last a small clunk. God smiled at the sound like he'd always believed that there was one item left. He was very relieved. He put the box down, pulled the flaps up again, and lifted the small creature up to seeing. It peered down inside, and as daylight was waning, it reached in and plucked out the last gift remaining. God put down the creature. Its little face gleamed. Its long wait was over. So what if it seemed that the gift it received was the last in the box? Passed over, avoided like it was the pox. So what if no others in line chose to choose it? This last little creature would take it and use it. The creature set off with a spring in its stride, and God took a shine to its new sense of pride. And the way that it took something others would not even touch with a pole, and would give it a shot, make it work, do its best, and it wouldn't lay blame. So God called to the creature, "Please, what is your name?" The creature turned round with a smile on its face, its being alive with a new-found grace that was born of contentment and new peace of mind. And it said, "Thanks for asking. My name is Mankind." And under its arm the creature then tucked the new gift it received, and God wished it good luck. It set off with purpose, completely undaunted. The gift it so prized, no one else even wanted. And God thought, "That's just the right gift for mankind. The power of reason should suit it just fine."